You know her. You probably don't love her. It's black supremacist Joy Reid, who has fired up the laptop in her basement studio to dish out truckloads of industrial strength Trump Derangement Syndrome. I'm no fan of Trump, but even I cringed at her TDS-infested rant. In this podcast with Cuckmeister Wajahat Ali, Joy takes aim at white people. Gee, there's a real shocker, and explains why they're just inferior to her race. Not to be racist or anything, because if there's one thing Joy Reid can't stand, it's racism, especially when it comes from that inferior race, Caucasians. Or have you forgotten? Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Hey everyone, you've joined me in mid-conversation. It's Joy Reid and I. We're talking about mediocre white men and their fragility.
Fragility? You mean like this?
I'm sorry. That what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV.
Joy Reid breaking down in tears over the cancellation of her MSNBC show, The Readout.
As you can imagine, I have been through every emotion over the past several days, from, anger, rage, disappointment, hurt.
Excellent.
The TV correspondent emotional over her firing during an appearance on the Win with Black Women podcast.
The Win with Black Women podcast. That's right. Win with Black Women. And here she is crying because she got fired. Oh, you couldn't write the script any better.
And how it has destroyed and is destroying America.
Yeah, not to be racist or anything.
And we have personal stories. And the reason why I've invited Joy is, first and foremost, any opportunity I can have talk to Joy Reid is always welcome. And number two, she said yes, which is fantastic. And number three, it's because each and every single time we've had Joy on the left hook, we have MAGA combing through her every word, and a clip usually goes viral.
That's because she says something insanely stupid.
And again, it's usually some mediocre MAGA man and their fragility that is offended by Joy's honesty and truthness and bluntness, and then they get really riled up. And so this time around, I'm like, you know what? Let's just give it to him straight. Give it to him hot on a platter.
You mean she's even going to be more racist this time? Whoa.
The frame, again, is mediocre white men and their fragility.
That what I was doing had value.
And how it is destroying America. And we want to spill some tea. So yesterday, Danielle and I were talking about how Donald Trump has taken over the Kennedy Center honors. These people cannot create culture on their own. So They need to take over, dominate, appropriate, and control. Without Black people, brown people, the DEIs, there's no culture in America. We make the food better. We make the economy better. We make the music better, right?
You make the food better? How? Look, I'm not knocking their food. It's fine. But if you ask Americans to name their top 10 favorite dishes, black food wouldn't score at all. You'd get pizza, tacos, steak, Spam, which is awesome, haggis. Okay, I'm Scottish, I'm sorry. Someone tell me what black food would make that list. Soul food? Screw that. You're not telling me that a pickled pig's foot is better than a ribeye. Okay, Scottish food is pretty bad, but that's what made them so tough. Show me the worst food, and I'll show you the best soldiers. I don't know what Gurkhas ate, but I bet it was pretty rough. And you make the economy better? Joy, you literally cried when you got fired by the rich white media mogul. Remember? But we can put that to the test. Show me the country that is the whitest and compare its economy to the country that is the blackest. Or if you want to restrict this to the United States, compare the whitest cities with the blackest cities. Look, I don't like having to respond in this fashion. I would much prefer that we stay off the subject, but someone had to point out the obvious. I also chuckle at the minister of Cuck, Ali. I mean, Joy Reid just slammed white people for not having any influence on music, and he nods his head with enthusiasm. So what does she think of his Arabic musical tradition? How much Arab-influenced music do you hear on a daily basis? Yet he'll gladly take the whooping from her and ask for more.
MAGA can't create culture. They got Cracker Barrel and Kid Rock.
And Ted Nugent. Love him or hate him, the dude rocked.
Right, because I had to also put on a hat. I just came from my hair salon, so I did get my hair done. But y'all tell me which hat. So I have this one, which I know will piss off the mediocrities, right? They get upset because they don't like history. So I'm wearing my 1619. My other option, now I have worn this in public and gotten a lot of compliments, mainly actually from white people who tend to enjoy it. So here's my other choice of hat, y'all.
Wait, let's go back.
So here's my...
If I remember, Wajahat was bitching about MAGA and cultural appropriation. Joy showed up to his podcast with dyed blonde hair. Are you kidding me? For the next eternity, she goes all boo-hoo about Scott Jennings. I mean, she has a real burr under her saddle about that dude. Let me correct that. She goes all boo-hoo on just about anyone associated with Trump, although some are deserving of it. But let's skip ahead.
There is no unlimited kingdom for white men. They don't get to be a king. You actually just have to be a citizen. And now you have to be leveled out and compete with all the other Americans who are not white men. Now,
yeah, because before 1900, every white man thought he could be king. What?
About 40% of white men said, bet, cool, I can live with that. Let's get it. Let's do it. Let's get in the culture. I like Mexican food. I like Asian food. I like me to eat some Indian food. I want to go be in the barbecue and I want to be at the cookout. Let's do it. And about 60% said, hell no, never.
But this is not just about racism. In a few seconds, we'll find out what this is really about. Hang tight.
And what we said before on the show, and we'll say it again, and I've held strongly to this, is the two original sins of America that have unfortunately never been confronted and completely eradicated are white supremacy and capitalism.
Marxism. That's their true goal. True to the ideals of Black Lives Matter, they want a Marxist revolution. These two are communists. They're not talking socialism here. They want capitalism eradicated. They want the upper hand so they can dish out all the revenge they feel they've earned. And it's not like we don't see plenty of examples of how this plays out overseas. And this is my warning, never ever give people like Joy Reid the upper hand.
To put in simple terms, racism and greed. And until white supremacy and capitalism. To put in simple terms, racism and greed. And until those two sins are eradicated, we will have a country that destroys itself. Case in point, Donald Trump is the cankled avatar of both capitalism and white supremacy. And it's always been this way. Each and every single time this country has a chance to evolve, to expand, to stretch, to actually live out its professed ideals, as the great professor Carol Anderson of Emory in her book, White Rage, wrote.
In case you don't know it, Carol Anderson is the one that propagated the myths that the Second Amendment is all about slavery and that police departments are the offspring of slave patrols. I did a video on her some time ago. He goes on to rail against D.W. Griffiths and the KKK, and then Joy starts in on whiteness and Trump. Let's skip ahead.
Donald Trump is the physical embodiment of all of America's sins.
I agree completely.
Right? He's sloppy. He's unkempt. Everything about him is false. His hair is a pretense of non-baldness.
No, I think that's his real hair.
He's old, but his followers try to pretend that he looks like Superman. He's a terrible businessman and a failure.
Yeah, Joy, he's a failure. Have you forgotten? This is you when you got fired from MSNBC.
That what I was doing had value.
The white man fired me. Oh my God, Trump is such a failure. Oh, Lordy.
Who gets to fake success because he's white, so banks keep lending him money even when he's failing.
Banks aren't going to loan anyone money if they're not going to get more money back. Joy, he's a billionaire who's been elected to the presidency twice, and his wife is super hot. Yeah, I think he's a jackass. Yeah, I think his economic policies are going to really suck. But failure? I don't know. I guess this person is the real success story.
That what I was doing had value.
The white man is so fragile.
His father scoops money out of his siblings' inheritance to give him when he fails. He's a fuck up, but he's able to be a success because white America keeps saying, no, 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 that guy is what success looks like. He's only a success on that TV show because when he was at his brokest, he gets hired to be on The Apprentice. His boardroom couldn't even be used on The Apprentice. And I found this out in my first, my Trump book because it was so shoddy and unkempt. I went in Trump Tower in the 80s. It was tacky and sad.
I don't know. His Manhattan apartment looks okay to me. I mean, I wouldn't mind living in it.
His marriage is a fraud. Melania clearly won't even touch him. The last time she let him touch her, they had Barron. Clear that he ain't touching her now. He doesn't believe in marriage. He doesn't have morality. He got 3 baby mamas, 5 children.
Remember, everyone, she's a black supremacist railing against a man who has 5 children to 3 baby mamas. Oh, and what about Joy's father? Well, he was never around, and then he left the family and moved back to the Congo. He deserted Joy. Smart man.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the slavery stuff. They got PragerU that can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music.
She caught herself. She caught herself. She was going to say invent anything, but realized that white people have invented a few things here and there, like Harvard University, where she went to school, and mainstream media, where she forged her career. So she quickly threw music in there because white people have never invented music.
We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop. Oh, thanks a lot! R&B, jazz, rock and roll.
Sorry, Joy, but country? When I listen to Bill Monroe, I hear a remarkable similarity to Scottish and Irish fiddle reels.
Good morning, Captain.
And the song is written by Jimmy Rogers, a white boy called, get this, the father of country music. Now, Bill Monroe did have some blues influences, but this is one of the aggravating aspects of the race hustlers. They take the entire credit for that which they had modest impact. And the same thing happens every Black History Month, where they claim every invention known to man. Essentially, they pour through the patent registries and they look for African Americans who have registered patents for something. Mind you, the patent will be an improvement of the clock you find on the dashboard of a car. Perhaps a new spring assembly. So who invented the car clock? Well, why, black people did, of course. Who invented the car? Black people. Who invented time? Black people. And I can guarantee you that those black people who don't dwell on the past by falling into this revisionism are more successful. Why? Because they look towards the future.
They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king.
Yeah, that's what white people do. They always give that title, the king, to white people. Who did they call the king of pop? Oh yeah, Michael Jackson.
Because they couldn't make rock and roll. So they have to stamp the king on a man whose main song was stolen from an overweight black woman. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Think about the lyrics. Why would a man, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, lying all the time? That's a song a woman sings about a man. He stole that song and made it a hit because he couldn't invent rock and roll.
I don't know if Joy is lying here or badly misinformed. First of all, the woman she's fat-shaming is Willie Mae Big Mama Thornton. She didn't write Hound Dog at all. That song was written by 2 white people, Mike Stoller and Jerry Lieber. Big Mama recorded her version of it before Elvis, but so what? That doesn't mean it was hers. If anyone stole the song, it was Big Mama Thornton. See this picture? The two dudes behind Elvis are the writers of Hound Dog, and this picture is on the cover of their autobiography. That's right, they chose a picture of them with Elvis Presley for the cover of their autobiography. And what is the name of their book? Oh yeah, Hound Dog. As for the lyrics, her version didn't contain the phrase lying all the time at all. That would sound more like you, Joy. What about Elvis's version? It wasn't lying all the time. I mean, that makes no sense. Maybe Joy's dogs lie to her all the time, and deservedly so, but usually hound dogs just bark or cry, and come to think of it, Elvis lyrics say crying all the time. As for why Elvis is called the king, well, he sold 10 million copies of the song. I'm not sure how many Big Mama sold, but I don't think it was 10 million. Look, I'm not an Elvis fan, and I especially have no real love for that song. But if you compare Big Mama to Elvis, you kind of sense why Elvis sold more copies. Both Big Mama and Elvis could sing. Who was the better singer? Well, hard to say. Both were outstanding singers. But unlike Big Mama, Elvis had it. Yeah, I could see why he was so popular. Unlike Big Mama, he was a rocker. Let's make that comparison again. Rocker, not a rocker. Some's just gots it, and some's ain't. It's the same reason why this guy is a rocker, and this guy is not. Oh, I just hate myself when I do that.
They're telling white people a lie so that they will believe that they have achieved when all they're doing is thieving greatness from other people. And I actually think that is a shame.
Is that like claiming the invention of everything that has ever been invented? You know, how black people invented the gas mask and saved millions of men in World War I, even though a white Britisher invented the gas mask. That kind of stealing from other people? Look, all races have contributed good things to our modern society, and they can all contribute good things from this point on. Blacks have had fewer opportunities to do so because of the oppression they faced in the New World. I get it. But instead of rewriting the past by taking credit for everything under the sun, why not look to the future? Dwelling on Trump, slavery, Jim Crow, and teaching the 1619 crap is just going to grow a generation of misinformed, bitter, and disillusioned youth. How do they benefit? What does that do for them? There's one thing I want to mention here. I've always prided myself on having the most intelligent, rational base of followers on YouTube. This is not the KKK channel. This is not the Proud Boys channel. I employ logic, facts, and humor to back my arguments here, not racism.
For white America. Because if you raised your kids that way, you would get brats, you would get monsters, you would get demons you don't even want at Thanksgiving. But
Gee, I wonder if anyone in the comments section is going to say anything about that.
we're raising an America that is mediocre on purpose because we don't want to tell Donald Trump that he is a fucking failure. But he is.
I'm going to leave you with the grand poobah of success, Joy Reid, crying over losing her job, because seeing her cry brings me so much joy. I envision her crawling into her closet, curling up in a fetal position, and undergoing pangs of anxiety, and I love it. You know why? Because deep down, she's an evil person. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.